Hi everyone, as we talked about in class the other day, we are going to be using Nearpod a lot this year. I know some of you have used it in previous classes with previous teachers, but for those of you who do not know Nearpod yet, I've created this video to walk you through the Nearpod how to use slides at a student pay section. We are going to be using many times the Nearpod, either student paced or the live lesson, which we'll do in class. But when you're home and things like that, it will be a student paced Nearpod. So what I want you to do right now is anytime that I give you an assignment with Nearpod, I will always be giving you a code. So today's code is actually ROQCN. 9 times out of 10, these codes make absolutely no sense. They are not a word or numbers or things like that. They're just a jumble of things. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and copy that code today. And you're going to go ahead and click on the link, which is going to be nearpod.com. And at the very top, it says enter code. This is where you're going to go ahead and paste the code from the Google Classroom, and you're going to go ahead and press this blue arrow button. So as you've seen I've already done, I have put my name into the first section. I would truly like you to make sure that you put your name in it, because when you are putting in different questions, things like that, I will be receiving those information and I need your name to be there. Now please make sure that your name is appropriate. Make sure it is actually your name. No nicknames please for this. And you're going to go ahead and press join session. All right, you should see this wonderful title page that I've created. It says how to use a Nearpod, Miss Buns, Team 8B. One of the things I do want to show you that you can be using throughout this entire time that we're doing the Nearpod today and in the future is on this right section there is a note section. This is where you can do a couple different things. You can actually choose the method to save your notes. There's going to be many times where I tell you, okay, I want you to send the notes straight to me. Here's my email. Or you're going to be able to save it to your Google Drive for future reference. Either one of these options is perfectly fine for you to use for today's session and for future ones as well. So let's go ahead and we'll get started into Nearpod. Some of the objectives and the guidelines that are going to be happening today is one, I want to make sure that you're able to actually navigate Nearpod. There are a lot of different things that you can go ahead and look through and look at. So this is going to be just a nice brief message on how to actually use it. Some of the guidelines and expectations for all of my students for the different activities, how to maneuver those different commands, and then when and how to use Nearpod outside of the classroom. So what I would like you to do first is I want you to watch a video in the next slide, and then you're going to answer some questions after that. So go ahead to the next slide. You're going to go ahead and watch this video. When you are done watching this video, I would like you to come back to this video and then go ahead and go to the next slide in the Nearpod. All right, so you've just spent 2 minutes watching that video about flying dragons. Now we are going to be using a collaboration board. Now collaboration boards are very specific. However, they do have guidelines in order to make sure that you're following it and things like that. So one, what you write down on your collaboration board, it must be relevant, it must be appropriate, and if you don't know the answer, you can simply write, I don't know. That is perfectly fine. If you are unsure of the answer or unsure of what you are writing, that is okay. This is something that you should write down. Next, you can post pictures as well, but you must make sure that they are following the same guidelines as a text. You can make sure that they're relevant, make sure that they're appropriate, and again, you don't have to write anything down if you're unsure of the question or unsure of what the answer might be. So this is what your collaboration board might look like. So it's like, give one fact about flying dragons that you learned from the previous video. This down here is where you're going to write your answers. So something I might say is, they can move from one tree top to the next, and you're going to post. There you go. So what's going to happen eventually, and especially in a lot of different classrooms or when we're actually doing a live lesson, this will completely fill up with all of your students, other things that they've said, spoken of, things like that. If you look at something that someone says and you're like, wow, that's a really great point, you can go ahead and give them a like. Makes them feel all special and nice inside. Go ahead and move to the next slide, please. Now we're going to go be taking a little field trip. Now these type of field trips we are going to be using numerously throughout our year, our school year, things like that. Because one, they're really cool, and also it's a nice way to be able to see something that we wouldn't be able to see in a 2D form. Now while you're going through this coral reef, I want you to make sure that you are going ahead and looking for divers, and you're going to go ahead and take a screenshot of that diver, because in the very next slide, I'm going to have you post it. So here we have a coral reef. Now in order to move it, you're not going to necessarily use these arrows on the side that you've been. You can actually hold your mouse, your cursor, and you're going to go ahead and swing it from side to side. Up, there's our diver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot this. So I'm going to use my MacBook commands. If you need to use your Chromebook or a PC, my commands are going to be Command, Shift, and 4. I'm going to take a nice little picture of our diver here. If you are using the Google Chromebooks that we have at school, you're going to go ahead and do Control and then F5 or screenshot. All right. You can go on this and look at it all day. There are so many cool things to look at. I mean, how incredible is this? That you can just look all the way up. And for those of you who have been to a coral reef or been diving, or that this is absolutely an incredible situation that anyone can be in and be able to look at. We're going to be talking a lot about coral reefs at the end of the year when we start talking about ecosystems. So this is just a good way to look at it now because we are going to be seeing it later on this year. Let's go ahead to the very next thing. Okay. This is where you're going to go ahead and post the screenshot of your diver from the previous slide. So you're going to go ahead and look at images. You're going to browse my files. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my screenshots. As you can see, there are a lot of different ones. Alright, well I can't find my screenshot. Good. Oh, you know where it is? It's right on my desktop. Here we go. Okay. You can do a couple different things. You can obviously swap it, you can go side to side, and you also can write text messages if you like as well. Same thing as before when you're doing any type of screenshots or writing anything, you may go ahead and make sure that you're going to go ahead and submit these things, just like we've talked about in Google Classroom. And there you go. Once you submit it, you can go ahead and go on to the next one. However, you can go back and you can resubmit it. If you're like, ooh, I really don't like this picture, you can go ahead and delete this or anything that you like. And we can also do this where I lock it in, I submit it, and then it's pretty much locked in you're pretty much set. Or I can have, you can erase your drawings. There's plenty of different things. All right. Now we are going to use the drawing activity. So here you have a house. I'm going to have the house on the next slide as well. And you're going to go ahead and use the drawing activity to draw it. So you can use both this. I'm going to go ahead and draw my house real fast. Now, what's really nice is obviously with you guys, when you have your Google Chromes and everything like that, it's much, much, much easier. If you want to see the picture again, you can go ahead and draw it there. I promise I will not judge you on your drawings. I'm going to just do a really fast one. If I'm like, oh man, I really didn't like that, you can go ahead and use the erase tool. Or if you're like, okay, I am not liking this at all, you can go ahead and say erase all and just start from the very beginning. Both of those are perfectly fine. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. We're going to go ahead and do our last activity, which is going to be a matching activity. To do this, pretty much you're just going to click on what you find with what you think it is. Ah, there you go. And it's going to keep on going until you are done. Great job, everyone. See? And there you go. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to take a couple seconds just to go through and figure out, think about Nearpod and what you're excited about this year and excited to use it, and go ahead and write down your answer. Same thing as before, please make sure it's relevant, make sure it's appropriate, make sure that it actually goes along with the question that you're seeing. So good job today. I know that for some of you, Nearpod is not brand new, but for some of you, I know this is a nice refresher, as some of you have not used the activity as much as like the lesson portion. Now, when doing Nearpod and everything like that at home, this is a great tool for you to use as you're studying or taking notes, things like that. Make sure that you're using this on a daily basis, especially when you're studying for a quiz, for a test, for any type of assessment that we're going to be doing in class. So now what I would like you to do is I would like you to go back to Google Classroom. And there is now a Nearpod feedback that I would like you to click on and go ahead and work on that for your homework assignment. And I will see all of you back tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Be kind, be good. See you soon.